Hello there, this is Ecuador Johnson with Group 4, giving you a presentation of our data meeting from the last data meeting we had, which was data meeting number 4. I took the liberty of presenting this one. Andrew Tran is a note taker, Delphine Mora was the timekeeper, and I was the facilitator. The technology we used for this project was the Google Hangouts, which we used for our meetings. We used iMessages for a way to coordinate our meetings and kind of find a time which was good for everybody to log on to Google Hangouts. We also were able to use the Google Drive as well as the Google Document for creating our documents as well as storing them so that everyone is able to have access to them. Our meeting took place on Sunday, March the 10th. We began at 5:15 p.m. and ended at 6:30. This meeting lasted 1 hour and 15 minutes. Some of the goals and tasks that we had to take care of in this data meeting was we had to first review instructional strategies and items using the planning protocol rubric. Each of us did our investigations prior to the meeting, and we were able to bring forth at least 2 strategies to the table in which we were going to explore in order to close gaps. We were able to look at the SMART goals that we created from data meeting 3, as well as some of the evaluation metrics. We discussed and created action plans to reach our goals. We also discussed some implementation ideas, and we also got feedback from one another on how we can improve these ideas and strategies based on prior experiences or what we know may have worked for other teachers. Some of the strategies for our action plans from each of us, one of us each proposed something. Andrew proposed the use of visual and virtual representations of chemical reactions using simulations from the University of Colorado. I talked about using Quizlet to help build vocabulary for my students in the classroom. Delphine also spoke about a virtual momentum simulator to engage students on the concepts of force, energy, and momentum. This is a quick snapshot of our planning protocol rubric. Each of us was able to go through one. We were all able to look at the strategy as well as give some feedback regarding where we think it fell within the rubric, within some of the expectations that we were looking for, and maybe the outcomes that we thought it would bring forth. This was really important. This was very interesting as well to kind of just get some feedback so we can kind of see how it would work in our classroom, whether it is effective, and so on and so forth. This is Andrew's sample action plan. Andrew's goal was that by the end of his chemistry unit, chemical interaction unit, 75% of the students will score 70% or higher on their balancing section of the unit test. So we see here that he has 3 instructional tactics. This is not a full page, but this is just a quick snapshot of what he would use. Again, Andrew wants to use more virtual labs in his room to improve student understanding of chemical interactions. I myself, I want to increase students' vocabulary. I want to increase their content understanding. So I went ahead and thought about using Quizlet. This is something I'm not too familiar with. I've used it a few times. Andrew was able to give forth a lot more insight and definitely seems as something that will work in my classroom. So Quizlet is a way to improve students' vocabulary. Delphine introduced us to an online simulation that she uses in her classroom through the McGraw-Hill textbook. This virtual lab will help students understand the ideas of force and motion. Delphine has a goal that at least 70% of the students should be able to score 70% or higher in a virtual lab, which requires collection, interpretation, and analyzation. Some of the strengths that we observed during our data meeting was that it was very efficient. During our meeting, we were able to use Google Drive and Google Hangouts. We were able to share our documents and work on them in real time. This helped the meeting become smooth and more materials were covered. The technology integration was another piece that we felt was very effective. We've been able to use technology very well. We had a bit of issues during data meeting 1 and 2, getting everybody on, but for 3 and 4, we were all able to get on very smoothly. We were all able to access the Google Drive. We were all able to access and put in our information into the spreadsheet, the planning protocol worksheet, as well as the action plan. We were all able to collaborate, and the camaraderie was amazing. We would ask each other questions. We gave each other feedback. Some of us had insight on some of the strategies that others wanted to use, so we were able to tell what works and what didn't work. I felt as though this was very effective in our meeting, and this helped us for all to be prepared for the next stage, which will be the implementation stage. In the next steps, we're going to implement our strategies. We know that we don't have any more meetings coming up, so we will hope to communicate through iMessaging just to kind of check on each other, tell each other what's going on, what's some small wins that are going on, maybe some things that aren't working too well, and be able to support each other. We'll continue to share resources and documents through the Google Drive folder, and that way we'll be able to hold each other accountable. We look forward for the next stage, and thank you.